We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. We all perform when others are watching. We all put on a show. We all try to look good. We all try to impress. But when no one is watching, that's when we reveal who we really are. That's when we show our true character. That's when we fall to the level of our private standards. And here's the truth, your private standards determine your true character. Not what you do when others are watching, not what you perform on stage, but what you do when no one is watching. This is episode 39 of Built Not Felt, and today we are exploring the power of private standards and how they determine your true character and your true success. So let's go. Let me start with a simple observation. We are all performers. We all perform when others are watching. We all put on a show. We all try to look good. We all try to impress. Think about your day. When you're at work, you perform. You're professional. You're focused. You're on your best behavior. When you're with your friends, you perform. You're fun. You're engaging. You're on your best behavior. Then, when you're with your family, you perform. You're respectful. You're present. You're on your best behavior. But when you're alone, that's when you reveal who you really are. That's when you show your true character. That's when you fall to the level of your private standards. This is the difference between public and private behavior. Public behavior is what you do when others are watching. Private behavior is what you do when no one is watching. And here's the truth, your private behavior is your true behavior. Your private behavior is your true character. Your private behavior is who you truly are. We all want to be seen as good people. We all want to be seen as successful. We all want to be seen as disciplined. But the question is, are we actually good people? Are we actually successful? Are we actually disciplined? The answer is found in what we do when no one is watching. Integrity. It's a word we hear a lot, but what does it really mean? Integrity is consistency. Integrity is being the same person in private as you are in public. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one would know. Integrity is not about what you do when others are watching. Integrity is about what you do when no one is watching. Think about it. If you're honest about if you're honest only when others are watching, you don't have integrity. If you're disciplined when only others if you're disciplined only when others are watching, you don't have integrity. If you're kind when others are watching, you don't have integrity. But if you're honest even when no one would know, that's integrity. If you're disciplined even when no one is watching, that's integrity. If you're kind even when no one is watching, that's integrity. Integrity is the foundation of character, and character is the foundation of success. Here's what's important to understand, integrity is not about being perfect, integrity is about being consistent. Integrity is about maintaining the same standards in private as you do in public. And this is where most people fail. Most people maintain high standards when others are watching. But when no one is watching, they compromise, they cut corners, they lower their standards. But people with true integrity, they maintain the same standards whether others are watching or not. They are the same person in private as they are in public. This is integrity. And this is what separates people who succeed from people who fail. Let me explain the difference between internal standards and external standards. The difference between internal standards and external accountability. External accountability is when others are watching. External accountability is when you know you'll be judged. External accountability is when there are consequences if you fail. When external accountability is present, most people perform well. Most people maintain the high standards. Most people do the right thing. But what happens when external accountability is removed? What happens when no one is watching? What happens when there are no consequences? There, uh, that's when internal standards matter. That's when your character is revealed. That's when you fall the level of your private standards. Here's the truth: we all rise to external standards. We all perform when others are watching, but we fall to internal standards. We fall to the level of our private values. This is why internal standards are so important. This is why what you do when no one is watching matters so much. Think about it. If your internal standard is mediocrity, you will be mediocre when no one is watching. If your internal standard is laziness, you will be lazy when no one is watching. If your internal standard is dishonesty, you will be dishonest when no one is watching. But if your internal standard is excellence, you will pursue excellence when no one is watching. If your internal standard is discipline, you will be disciplined when no one is watching. If your internal standard is integrity, you will maintain integrity when no one is watching. Your internal standards determine who you are. Your your internal standard determine your true character. Your internal standards determine your true success. Most people focus on external accountability. Most people focus on what others think. But the people who truly succeed, they focus on internal standards. They focus on who they are when no one is watching. The Bible has a lot to say about this. In Proverbs 10, verse 9, we read, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." Notice this: integrity brings security. When you maintain high standards, even when no one is watching, you walk securely. You don't have to worry about being exposed. You don't have to worry about your private behavior being revealed. You walk securely because you know who you are in private matches who you are in public. But when you compromise your standards in private, when you take crooked paths, you will be found out. Your private behavior will eventually be revealed. And when it is, everything will collapse. In Matthew 6, verses 1 to 4, Jesus says, "Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their full reward. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Jesus is saying something profound here. He's saying that true character is demonstrated in private, not in public. When you do what you do when no one is watching is what truly matters. God sees what is done in secret, and God rewards what is done in secret. This is a radical statement. Jesus is saying that the only reward that matters is the reward from God, and God judges not what you do in public, but what you do in private. In 1 Peter 3, verses 3 and 4, we read, "The beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. Peter is saying that true beauty and worth come from inner character, not outward appearance. Your character, when no one is watching, is what has true worth. Not your appearance, not your performance, but your inner character. In Proverbs 22, verse 1, we read this: a good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Your reputation is more valuable than anyone else, than anything else. And your reputation is built on what you do when no one is watching. Your reputation is built on your private character. In 2 Corinthians 5, verse 10, Paul writes, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. Ultimately, we will be judged not by what we did when others were watching, but by what we did in private. Our true character will be revealed, and we will be judged accordingly. Scripture is clear. Your private character matters more than your public performance. What you do when no one is watching is what truly matters. Let me tell you about Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is the greatest swimmer of all time. He won 23 Olympic gold medals. He dominated swimming for nearly 2 decades. But here's what most people don't know: Michael Phelps became the greatest swimmer not because of his talent. He became the greatest swimmer because of his private discipline. Michael Phelps trained 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day. He woke up at 5 a.m. every morning to train. He maintained this discipline even when no one is watching. His coach Bob Bauman said, Michael's greatest gift is his mental toughness. He never takes a day off mentally. Think about that. Michael Phelps never took a day off mentally, even when he was tired, even when he was frustrated, even when no one was watching. He maintained his discipline. He maintained a strict diet. He avoided junk food. He stayed focused on his goals even when away from the public eye. His discipline in private created his excellence in public. Michael Phelps was known for being humble and grounded. He treated teammates with respect. He mentored younger swimmers. He maintained high standards of behavior even when cameras weren't around. Here's the key: Michael Phelps became the greatest swimmer because his private standards maintained his public standards. He was disciplined in private as he was in public. He was focused in private as he was in public. He was committed in private as he was in public. This is why he succeeded. This is why he became the greatest. This is why his success lasted. Compare this to other athletes who had talent but lacked private discipline. They performed well when cameras were on, but when no one was watching, they didn't maintain their standards and eventually they fell. Michael Phelps fell to the standards he had and no one was watching, and his standards were excellence, his standards were discipline, his standards were commitment. This is why he succeeded. This is why he became the greatest. This is why his legacy will last. Michael Phelps is not alone. There are many people who succeeded because of their strong private standards. Steve Jobs maintained high standards for product quality even in private meetings. He refused to compromise on design principles even when no one would notice. His private standards created his public excellence. Oprah Winfrey maintained discipline in her personal life. She invested in her education and growth even when not in public. Her private work ethic created her public success. Kobe Bryant trained relentlessly in private. He maintained high standards of behavior even away from the cameras. His private discipline created his public excellence. Cristiano Ronaldo is known for his private discipline and training. He maintains a strict diet and fitness routine even in private. His private standards create his public excellence. All of these people have one thing in common. Their private standards match their public standards. They were the same person in private as they were in public, and this consistency created their success. This is the pattern. People who succeed maintain high standards when no one is watching. People who fail compromise their standards when no one is watching. But there's also the opposite pattern. There are people who failed because their private standards didn't meet their public standards. Tiger Woods maintained a public image of perfection, but his private behavior contradicted his public image. When his private behavior was exposed, his public image collapsed. His career was damaged, his reputation was destroyed. Lance Armstrong cheated in private while maintaining a public image of a hero. When his private behavior was exposed, everything collapsed. His titles were stripped, his legacy was destroyed. Enron executives maintained a public image of success, but their private behavior was fraudulent. When exposed, everything collapsed. The company went bankrupt. The executives went to prison. All of these people have one thing in common. Their private standards didn't match their public standards. They performed well in public, but when no one was watching, they compromised. And eventually they were exposed. This is the pattern. People who fail compromise their standards when no one is watching, and eventually their private behavior is revealed. And when it is, everything collapses. The question is, which pattern will you follow? Will you be like Michael Phelps, maintaining high standard when no one is watching? Or will you be like Tiger Woods, compromising your standards when no one is watching? Let me break down the five angles of character. First, the difference between public and private behavior. We all perform when others are watching, but our true character is revealed in private. Public behavior can be fake, private behavior is real. Second, integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. Integrity is consistency. Integrity is being the same person in private as you are in public. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one would know. Third, internal standards versus external accountability. External accountability is temporary, internal standards are permanent. We fall to the level of our internal standards. Your internal standards determine your true character. Fourth, character as what you do when no one is looking. Character is not what you do when others are watching. Character is what you do when no one is watching. Your private behavior defines your true character. Fifth, the consequences of inconsistency. Inconsistency between public and private eventually collapses. Your private behavior will eventually be revealed. True success comes from consistency. These are the five angles, and they all point to one truth. We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. So, how do you build strong private standards? How do you maintain high standards when no one is watching? Define your values. What do you believe in? What matters to you? What kind of person do you want to be? Define this clearly, write it down, make it real. Commit to them in private. Don't just commit to your values when others are watching, commit to them in private. Make a decision that you will maintain your standards whether others are watching or not. Practice them consistently. Consistency is key. Practice your values every day. Practice them in small moments. Practice them when it's hard. Practice them when no one is watching. Hold yourself accountable. Don't rely on external accountability. Hold yourself accountable. Track your behavior. Reflect on your choices. Adjust when you fall short. Measure your true character by private behavior. Don't measure your character by what your others think. Don't measure your character by your public performance. Measure your character by what you do when no one is watching. This is how you build private standards. This is how you become a person of integrity. This is how you create true success. Here's my challenge to you this week: audit your private standards. Be honest with yourself. What you do when no one is watching, are your private standards high or are they low? Then identify one area where your private standards don't match your public standards. One area where you perform well in public but compromise in private, and commit to changing it. Commit to maintaining the same standards in private as you do in public. Commit to being the same person when no one is watching. This is not about perfection. This is about consistency. This is about integrity. Remember this. We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. So raise your private standards, raise them high, and maintain them consistently. Because your private standards determine your true character, and your true character determines your true success. Send this to someone who needs to hear this. Someone who's compromising their standards in private, someone who needs to build integrity, someone who needs to succeed. This is built, not felt, by the Rice Code. And I'm challenging you to build strong private standards. Your life depends on it. We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. Build strong private standards, maintain them consistently, and watch your life transform. See you in the next episode.